You see anything missing? I see a lot of stuff missing. Welcome back to M Hood Fishing, everybody. So, in the time that it took for me to get ready while I was here, I've been observing. As I rolled up, actually, I noticed big changes here on this drainage ditch. It seems that the parish has been here and trimmed the banks on this side and that side. There was a lot of overgrown weeds. So the question comes to mind, where did all that go? And when was that? How long ago was that? If it was over a week ago, there's been enough rain to maybe push it out. So we might have some debris down here. After all that, and I was getting things going here, I was watching the water. How about you? Look. What do you see? Look at the ripples. See a bunch of curved ones? Maybe if we're lucky, we'll see what's creating it. Well, not lucky that time, but eventually we will be, because there's actually a lot going on. It is just after 4 p.m. this afternoon. So what I want to talk about as I look for bass, and maybe sac-a-lait, even though I think we're done with that, but we might encounter them. I want to talk about matching the hatch. Usually you hear that with fly fishing, but it applies to everything. So I cannot identify what is getting knocked and what is knocking. However, I know that it's not turtles knocking stuff. I know it's fish, and I know that it's bait. So I don't know what kind of bait. Sometimes it can be real important to identify what the bait is the fish are busting, whether it's shad or shiners or something, or even mollies or mosquito fish. However, that's not always possible. There's a lot of bait here though. What's really important, opposed to what kind of bait, is the size. All right, so they appear to be about like this, not very big. So I already had this tied on. It's a little big compared to what I'm seeing getting busted here. It's just a small avocado chartreuse with an orange belly, an orange stripe going down the belly. It's a square bill crankbait. So also you got to watch how this bait is getting busted, right? We'll look again down here. What's the veracity? Oh, you see that right over there on the side? It's all over the place. Are they ambushing it, or are they hitting it out in open water? You got to ask yourself, are these schooling fish busting the bait? Right now, it's just in random places all over, but mostly to the sides. Oh, and some, you see that? Some bait came out of the water and stuff chasing it. This could be gar doing this. There are gar up here. This is, for the most part, a shallow drainage ditch that goes into a bayou, but it has its deeper holes, right? And we're at one right now. It's not like super deep. It's not even 8 feet. It's maybe 3-4 feet right here at the deepest, if that. Therefore, because it's not very deep, a small crankbait that doesn't dive deep could work. But this, unfortunately, is the smallest crankbait I brought. So once we find out whether this works or not, whether or not they're going to hit this, we can go to a smaller bait, which I do have. It's just going to be something totally different. It's just all over the place, this activity. Sometimes there's fish up here and sometimes there's not. These square bills, usually I like to throw in winter, but it's still winter, even though it doesn't feel like it down here in southeast Louisiana every day, but it did feel like it last night. And it might, for a lot of people, it's going to feel like it tonight. But for a lot of people up north, it's going to feel like t-shirt, shorts, frisbees, stuff like that. I mean, it's only going to get down in the 40s. Real quick before I change to a different bait, now that I've walked down this way, I've got much more shallow water, and this has a depth of, I don't know, I think it's maybe 6 feet, right? So this is way too shallow. So how do I fish this here? Pause, because it's going to float up. Pause, let it float up. Pause, let it float up. The longer you retrieve, the deeper it's going to go, or the faster you retrieve. So if you retrieve it slow and you don't feel it clipping the bottom, you're good. But if you're retrieving it so fast, you feel it boop, 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 hard hits, it's hitting the bottom, and you could catch something like that, but you also could snag up. Very likely that it's gar knocking the bait off, but it doesn't have to be. It's not always gar. But this is a much more appropriate size to what I'm seeing getting knocked out of the water here. And I'm still not sure what species of bait it is. But at this moment, it's not really that big of a deal. It's just more important right now that we fish the size of bait they're hitting. And since they're hitting it in random places out in the open, going with the cork, just moving it around should work. We just have to pick the right depth under the cork. Right now we're just around a foot. That's an avocado chartreuse muddy water bait. It's garlic flavored. Doubt it still tastes or smells like garlic, because I've been using it for a bit, that one bait. Oh, did you see or hear that? I may not have been actually in frame on that, whatever that was, but that was a legit fish. You see, there's all kinds of stuff going off. So I have seen the color of the bait is like silver and white, right? But that doesn't mean that I should choose a silver and white bait, because this water is not chocolate milk, but it's not gin clear either. So this avocado chartreuse bait will be visible to them, just like, you know, the baits they're hitting are visible, but they're silver and white to our eyes when they come out of the water. But that's not necessarily the color they are to their eyes in this stained water. Things change down there, and yeah, they don't have human eyes. So perception is different between you and a fish, of course. Oh, there is a lot of bait here. It's probably mosquito fish, but it could be anything. I'd say mosquito fish because there tends to be a lot of them up here at any given time. And those are about like that. They don't get too big. Oh, we're getting bites here though. Yeah, I had a feeling switching to the Sockeye jig would give us some kind of love, and I did put a crappie bite on there. I was kind of hoping to bang into a bass up here, but if this is what they're eating, oh, you see that? Got a bite right there. If this is what's going on, this is what we should do to get something going on fast, instead of throwing big things that they're not going for. Because sometimes in winter, even though it doesn't really seem like winter, it seems kind of off here, and me say this with, you know, green around me, but technically most places in North America it's winter still, you know, with the exception of a few others that are like much more greener and warmer, like maybe Southern California or Florida. It's still winter there. It's just a different thing, right? So in most places it's a lot colder than Southeast Louisiana right now, or Florida, or California, Southern California. And in winter, a lot of fish, you know, in colder water are not always going to hit the biggest bait you throw. This is true with catfish for sure. A lot of guys have been asking me for advice lately, because they're somewhere maybe a little north of me or a lot further north and they're struggling. Well, I would say to you, just like I said to them, probably all down to your water temperature. It is still winter. And I'll give you the same advice I give everybody this time of year. Downsize your baits. You know, I ask what size bait are you throwing, but I just off the bat, a lot of times I don't even ask. I just say downsize your bait. You've seen me do it. Smaller bait, smaller hook. When it comes to flatheads, you could throw a big live bait this time of year and still hit them, but we're strictly talking about flatheads for live bait and strictly talking about blue cats and channel cat for smaller baits, right? Smaller cut baits. Before I give up on these small baits, let's try drop shotting. We'll start down here deeper in the culvert. Same bait on a size 4 mosquito hook with 3/8 ounce lead. Less than a foot is the depth between the bait and the lead, and that's probably maybe 2 feet of water down there. It's dark, right? So there could be stuff hanging out back there that prefers darkness. Gotcha. Yes. On the drop shot. Finally. I think these fish are hanging out on the bottom. Shoot them up. Shoot them up. Shoot them up. They're shooting up, busting the bait. Took me a while to figure out what was going on. Small little bass. I kind of wanted to keep one to eat, but that is really small. Yeah, you're right. So I matched the hatch, the size of the hatch anyway. I just had to figure out how to fish that. Now, I could have fished bouncing a jig off the bottom and picked up bass as well, but once I came out here with the drop shot, I was able to finesse it, slow it down, keep it in an area. And when you're just bouncing a jig, you can't move the jig and keep it in an area, but when you're drop shotting a bait, you can. You just keep the lead in the area and gently wiggle the bait without moving the lead. So we got some light left. Let's see if I can get another one, because as soon as I started using the drop shot, I started to get bites that were telling me, oh, this isn't necessarily a perch, because underneath the cork it was all little, probably little undersized bluegill bites or red spotted bites nibbling at the tail. Let's walk down here. It shallows up right in here and then gets a little deeper after this concrete ends, but there's a lot of activity right in here. You see that right there? See that? That's probably, ooh, I just kind of landed into some mess right there. Maybe I can slice through it. Maybe it's a foot deep right here, but there's a lot of, probably bass, a lot of fish running in here busting bait. Actually, I think I'll just come over here. See all this bait right in here? See this water kind of like it's raining a little bit? Now this is where it transitions from maybe a foot or less to maybe 2 feet or so, but there's fish coming through here. We're gonna get this right over there to the side, nowhere near me, and just try to keep it there. I don't want to move the lead too much right now. I want to see if something's cutting through there, because a lot of times they're gonna come through the sides, the predators, right? The bass or whatever. Occasionally they'll come through the middle, but they're gonna be riding the sides through here is what I've noticed, ambush and stuff. All right, gotcha. Yes. Ho ho ho. Picked him up right on that ledge. Yeah, it's nothing to get excited about, but yeah, maybe it is something worth getting excited about. It's better than nothing. It's just a kind of a surprise. I saw the line move, really. I didn't feel anything at all. I saw that line move and I was like, oh, something's there. Yeah. Something's going on. Sirens. Might be a diabetic limousine, but there's more horns. Oh, there's just crazy stuff going on back here. Oh, look at all this crazy stuff. It's crazier than it was when I first got here and I noticed the feeding going on. Probably because we had this overcast that prompted it to start a little earlier. But now it seems like in full swing. How long will that last? Probably could catch some more fish. You know, I'm getting the best luck. I am getting bites without the crappie bites, but it seems to get the fire going faster if I put one of these on. You know what this is, right? This is the early bits of the pre-spawn feed up for bass, because it usually happens in February here, but not always like early February or mid-February. Sometimes it's late February. This is the 14th today. This is the day after Mardi Gras Day. A lot of people just trying to move on today. A lot of people are hungover today. Are we gonna get another fish out of here? Oh man, maybe we need to turn around and focus behind us, because it's just, whoa, I'm about to go in there with the fish. There's some stuff going on back here. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna hang out, but you're hanging out with me. Temperature is dropping and the night is coming. You can hear it singing at us with sirens and horns. You know, at the retreat, pretty soon the chickens will be making the noises they make when the sun goes down. Same noises they make all the time. So, yeah, it's gonna be a little chilly. I can already feel it down south in the nether regions. I do not have thermals on because it got up to like 65 today. Well, maybe I will jet out of here pretty soon if I can get another fish in this video, of course. Run home, hang out with my dogs for a second, get a cup of tea, put some thermals on, and go do something else, because I kind of feel like I got a wild hair up my butt and I want to go do stuff, but we shall see. Yeah, you're right. Wild hairs and all. Yeah, you're right. Maybe. Hey, thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, being a member of the channel, and I will see you next time.